And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma.
Hi guys, today's Monday the 4th of March 2019. I'm very, very, very excited to have with me beautiful Samantha Jones from Socially Outstanding. Do you want to start with telling us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your history, about your experience, you know, your business life? There's been so much happening in the last sort of like 10, 15 years and yeah, it's a pretty incredible story.
Yeah, cool. I'd love to share that with you. Thanks for having me first up. Lovely to meet all you guys. Okay, so just to kind of keep this reasonably quick, because it's certainly been a long journey. I've not been in the salon industry for all of my life, which I think has actually really benefited me, and it's probably part of the journey that's brought me here where I am today, loving client experience and absolutely loving customer service, both of which I'm really passionate about. So I began really as a flight attendant for a British airline. And like I was with the airline for 7 years, and I used to run the flights, you know, learn how to manage and handle a team of, or a crew, of 10 with a couple of pilots and liaising with all the ground crew and that sort of thing. So I had a really, really high level of customer service training, and that is the training and the experience I took into my salons with me. So
Set the standard, because they're so particular about everything down to like uniform, like, you know, you have to have hairspray, you have to wear lipstick, you have to have the same it's like your appearance has to be flawless, but as well as that, you have to be fucking friendly all the time.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it's really not too dissimilar to being a salon owner, right? Like, I remember the uniform police coming around with flicking red lipstick colour chart shades and making sure that your lipping was bang on tone with their uniform standards. So I guess I learned to conform very early on to, you know, making sure that I followed systems and processes, but then of course I was able to take that along with me later on. So yeah.
So how did your journey into salons, into the hair industry? I like that you kind of came into the hair industry, I guess, late in a standard hairdresser's life.
Yeah, I mean, hair in particular. Yeah, that's it. Hair in particular, I came into a little bit later in life. But while I was a flight attendant, the wages were so poor, I actually learned how to do nails and taught myself that skill. So I used to work doing ladies' nails before and after flying, you know, to get myself out of the old student debts and that sort of thing. And found that I really loved the industry. So I went to beauty school and became a beautician. And then later on, when I opened my first hair salon in the UK, I branched out into hair. I put myself through my hairdressing apprenticeship to really help with my knowledge and understanding of the business overall.
Yeah. And the reason I talk about hair, I guess, is I got to know you while you had the Samantha Jones Hair Company as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you don't have it anymore. You sold it a couple of years ago, which is very exciting. It was a really, really good time to sell for you. Like, I try and talk about, you know, a lot of people say, oh, when it's in its peak, you should keep it. When it's in its peak, you should sell it. Yeah. You know, I guess what I learned about your business was you had these flawless procedures. You had an amazing crew. You were the same as me. You weren't on the floor. We actually came off on the same day.
We did, didn't we?
Which was 1st of April, I think it was. Yeah. And, yeah, I guess like you were known for your point of difference and your customer experience, client experience.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those of you that don't know anything about my old salon, it was called Samantha Jones Hair Company, and it wasn't based on me, Samantha Jones. It was actually built around the whole Sex and the City concept. So I was quite fortunate that I managed to develop a point of difference right from the outset. And, you know, developing that point of difference was a continual journey. It wasn't just a case of going, right, this is what I'm going to do, slapping everything into place. It was gradually introducing these new things as we went along. Yeah. And yeah, you know, like it was just really wonderful. We became known in the community for, you know, offering that different experience. So yeah, it was.
And so do you want to talk a little bit about what you do now? Because
Yeah.
obviously you took some time out after selling your salon to build your incredible house, which is like one of the most spectacular houses I've ever seen in my life. But you talk about what you do now, talk about Socially Outstanding and you know, what that is and what you're doing with it.
Yeah. So towards the end of my salon journey, I was actually studying some coaching courses because I've always been so passionate about this topic. You know, I decided that I don't think there's really any particular client experience coaches that just are fully focused on client experience. And so I wanted to learn, first of all, how to help people develop their own client experience, but also, you know, I as a coach needed to learn basically how to coach. So towards the end of my salon journey, I was immersing myself in my studies and just finding that I really loved it. So it was wonderful for me. I had something to move into after my salon sale. You know, but yeah, I've been working on Socially Outstanding for really seriously for the last few months. But yeah, I've been working with salon owners under another coaching brand, the Salon Owners Collective, for the last sort of 8 months. So it's been great, but now it's time for me to get out and do my own thing. And yeah, Socially Outstanding is kind of more of a membership group where we're working on all of our ideas together as a team. So
awesome. And so like that's the reason I wanted to bring you here. I think client experience and customer service is kind of like this really overlooked part of a business. I know that, and you know, it blows steam on my ass when I say this, I've got one of the best salons in Geelong, and we know that because of the amount of clients we've got. But obviously a lot of people comment on the things like, you know, they get a proper coffee, they get that same consistent service every single time they come in. So I just thought it would be really nice to bring you in and, you know, obviously let the guys loose with asking so many freaking questions about client experience and obviously enhancing theirs, because the other thing that can happen is you can kind of get in a bit of a slump after being in business for a long period of time. So sometimes you just want some fresh ideas and, you know, some new things to bring along. So I'm going to get started.
Yay.
Like I said, if you guys have anything else come up throughout the process, just put the question in the chat box and I'll go through them at the end. Describe what customer service means to you.
So customer service, I think customer service and client experience are usually enveloped under the same umbrella. But I think that customer service and client experience are, well, customer service is an element of your client's experience. That is the part where your client or your customer is actually present within your business. So for me, that is the customer service part of the journey. And, you know, that is the part where, you know, it really does need to be flawless. Your customer service, people expect a really high level of customer service nowadays. And, you know, that comes as standard. Sorry, Caitlin?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like it's just getting more and more and more demanding.
Yeah, for sure.
Costing, like the cost of living, costing, you know, increases in everything. But yeah, I agree with you. I think it's getting worse and worse and worse as time goes on.
I think many people are moving back to experiences and building connections with people. And so customer service or building that connection with your clients is actually becoming more and more important. People are looking for much more in their service providers nowadays.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I guess pretty succinct. How can I turn an unhappy client into a happy client? So I guess this question, I'm guessing from reading this, I actually haven't read these questions, which is really, really poor of me. I just sent them to you. Is, you know, I'm guessing from feedback or, you know, somebody complaining at the end of a service or, you know, what was your process around, I guess, client feedback?
Yeah, I think whenever I'm dealing with unhappy clients, I always put myself back in those flight attendants' shoes and follow the systems that were taught to me, you know, by the big airlines, really. And the first thing is to stop and to listen. You need to listen to those clients' concerns, listen to their questions, then you need to repeat back what their concerns are. It's really important to show people that you have listened and that you've understood what their problem is. You also need to empathize. So empathize, even if you think they're completely unjustified in their complaint, it's really important to be able to show some empathy in this situation. And then the next thing really is to ask them what they would like you to do. What is the best outcome for you today? And usually they will give you the answer. And if you can follow that procedure and fix their problem, if it's within your realms to do so, some of you might need to see a manager perhaps, or, you know, get some authority to make sure that you can resolve that situation. But by stopping, listening, asking questions, showing empathy, and then asking what they would like you to do to resolve the situation, will usually see a good result. And getting down to their eye level. If the customer or the client is actually in the salon with you, you need to bring yourself down to their eye level. If you're standing above them behind a chair, they're going to feel very intimidated. So
the barrier between you anyway when you're putting a mirror up with them.
Absolutely.
Doing consultations as well. I like my staff to sit face to face with them, so they'll be on a stool at eye level, or, you know, with a beauty client, they'll be sitting on the beauty bed kind of when you're standing to an eye level, because I agree with you, it puts a barrier.
Perfect. Yeah.
Them.
Yeah.
That's not nice.
Yeah. No one likes to be spoken over. It doesn't matter whether it's a good situation or not, you know, it's really important to be able to put yourself into the shoes of the client. Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yep.
And I guess these ones kind of go hand in hand. What do you do when you really kind of don't know how to help a client? You really can't obviously make them happy. And yeah, what's the best things to say to a client when nothing you do say, nothing will make them happy or get them back?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
That's a tough one. I know.
I think when they're just not going to be happy, and when you can't get them back, again, showing empathy is really important, and maybe admitting that you're very sorry that you're not able to make them happy at this time. But make sure that you let them know that the doors are always open, and that, you know, if they feel that they can come back to you, then you're always here to be able to help them. But, you know, we're always going to get those clients that we kind of can't help, or we cannot turn that situation around. But, you know, just making sure that they know that they've been listened to and that they've been understood should really help with the situation. But yeah, you know, like sometimes your hands are tied with that really awkward client. Yeah, it's a tough one.
And I think it's really hard to, like, I know as being a naturally fiery person, it's really hard to not kind of snap back at that person as
React,
well.
Yeah.
It's come up a couple of times in my coaching circle where it's been like, you know, you're not going to get anywhere by going back at them. And so, like, sometimes they're yelling at me, put my hands up and kind of go, hey, calm down. I'm going to talk to you about this when you're ready to talk. But I'm not I'm not going to sit here and have a tit for tat with you either.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes I know for sure that I just give in and I'm just like, just have your money back. I just don't even bothered with an argument. Pick your battles.
To be honest with you, I agree with you there as well, Caitlin. It's not worth your energy.
Like, you've got to know when to call it quits.
Absolutely.
Call it quits, be done with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the process for you guys now too is that if we do agree to refund somebody, would you have a agreement that basically states they can't go slandering us online?
Yeah, for sure.
You know, that's it is available in my Salon Bible, guys. But if you do have a lawyer or something, it's a really easy thing for them to draw up for you. Just means that you've basically made an agreement with them. They're happy. You're happy. That's it.
Situation closed. Yeah, dealt with.
What are your best follow-up procedures or processes that you have with your client salons or with your salon? Like, how did you get feedback?
Okay. So I have a systemized client retention procedure that I follow every single week diligently. Yep. I'm sure most of you guys have something in place as well. Yep. But I think that that's really important, first of all, for consistency. Second of all, so that you know what's going on in your business. I've been testing and measuring lots of different things lately. But what I've been doing recently is literally just sending out text messages to my new clients, because they're never answering the phone nowadays. They're too busy. Yeah.
Same thing. We've just changed ours in the last couple of weeks.
Cool. Yeah. And it's working. It's brilliant. The response rate is almost 100%. So I absolutely love it. So I'm opening the channel for conversation. If a guest or a client is not happy, I have now opened the channel for them to be able to let me know that they're not happy. And when they are super happy, and lots of computer programs can do all this stuff for you now as well, by the way, but I'm currently manually doing a lot of this because I'm testing things right now. So when they're really happy, I'm sending a follow-up message saying, hey, you know, we're so excited that you're really happy with the results of your service. We'd really appreciate a review. Here's the link. And we send them the link to the one that we want the review for. And we're getting 2 or 3 a week at the moment. So it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. That's what we're just on. I'll actually just read as I just got the sample of it before. You must have had a blow wave or something last week. Thanks for visiting Huntress Hair Religion. We care what you think. Out of 10, how likely are you to recommend us to a friend? Obviously, if we get 7 or less, we're going to contact them directly. And if we get, obviously, 8 or more, then we do the same thing. Send them links to review on either Google or Facebook or wherever we want them to review us. It's really important you ask.
Yeah, beautiful.
As well. Like, it's such a powerful way of, you know, building that brand trust.
Exactly. And if you want something, you just have to ask for it, right? You know?
I agree with you, and especially if they're long-term clients. One of my really long-term staff finished up in December, and she had the most loyal clientele. They were like clockwork. She was booked up, you know, 4 or 5 months in advance. She never asked them. I'm like, why didn't you ask her? She's like, oh, I feel weird about it. I'm like, babe, they've been coming to you for years. Like, yeah, crazy.
Yeah, and they're usually once you've built that relationship with a client, they actually really want to help you. So, yeah, you'll find that they will be climbing over everything to send that review out for you. So, yeah.
I love it. That's awesome. I mean, how to ensure that you provide a 5-star salon experience. So when I read that, I guess I'm feeling like, what were the things that you did that really gave you that like airline first class 5-star? What was the things that you found effective? Even if it's top 5 or top 3 or something like that.
Yeah. So it's almost like having a systemized check-in procedure. So we all know when we go to the airport, right? We all know exactly what we need to do. Quite often when a client comes to your salon, they don't know what to do. They might be feeling uncomfortable, especially if they're new. You know, they might not know what to expect of the whole experience or the whole visit. So I think it's really important to systemize the process and, you know, bringing them through with a set system. So all of my team in the salon, from the youngest to the most long serving, would welcome a client in exactly the same way. And clients come to expect it. So we would walk them through, show them how to sit down, you know, actually introduce the chair for them rather than just kind of show them, and present them. At the time, we'd present them with a cold bottle of mineral water. On a napkin, we'd actually crack the bottle for them and pour it halfway, never full, only half. It's an airline thing. Same with cans. If you're doing cans and stuff like
trivial,
that,
but I guess there's a reason for it. That's random.
But I do all of these things. It's even like down to the toilet paper. My neighbours crack up, right? Because whenever they come to my house or whenever I go to their house, I fold the toilet paper into a triangle. It's a habit. I can't break it. 20 years later.
I do that always in my hotel room.
Oh, it's funny. So my friends are like, can you just like come and fold my toilet paper? Because it's really nice. I know. It's a culmination of all of those little things. So pouring the water or a drink for your guest actually makes them feel special, like it's an actual experience or a service. They're being served. We're there to serve them.
Yeah.
The other thing that I had that wowed my clients, and I still do it to this day in my new salon, but a different, is a signature drink.
My new salon too. She's just opened a new salon as well. I'm done with salons, and all of a sudden I was like, I kind of want to open another salon. About that as well. So in the very early stages at the moment, which is awesome. But
we're just 16 weeks old or something at the moment. So it's actually proving to be an absolute awesome coaching tool, because I'm using it to help my students in the school. So
make sure it works, pass it on.
Absolutely. Signature drinks. I love little touches like this. They help to make you Instagram famous. People cannot help but post photographs of something special on social media. So at Samantha Jones.
Salon?
Sorry, darling.
What's the signature drink at this salon?
At this one, we're serving espresso martinis.
No,
So.
Cosmopolitans, yes?
Yes, because Sex in the City, hey, the girls only drank Cosmos, right?
Yeah, I get it.
I guess if you can't serve alcohol in your salon, you know, even finding something that there's some awesome, God, what do you call them when they've got no alcohol in it?
Like virgin.
Yeah, thank you. I'm thinking I don't not drink alcohol. You know, you can actually create some awesome signature drinks that are quite easy, and that can be introduced as part of your process as well, you know. So just the little things. We used to have our basins or lounge area all set up in a particular way, and we had a set system at that basin as well, so everyone followed that and the clients absolutely loved it. So
yeah. So I think one of the questions on here is to, you know, basically how do you manage your team to make sure they're following those processes? It's really hard. It's especially hard because, you know, a lot of my clients are still on the floor, maybe not full time but still quite a bit. You know, if you've got that, you know, people who just won't follow those processes, how do you motivate them to follow those processes?
Yeah. It's getting your team motivated is a difficult one, but do you know what? As much as we all hate it, role playing, it is the only way to make sure that everybody understands exactly what's expected of them. And it's the only, sorry?
I hate it.
I know.
My team hate it.
Do you know what? I say to...
Otherwise, I'm going to make you stand there and do a role play with all your staff. I'm going to make you stand up in front of all the staff and do it.
There you go. That's exactly what I was just going to say. You can use it as a bit of a threat, you know. Get it right or I'm going to make you role play it. So, yeah, you know, you do feel a little bit silly, but it's the only way to reinforce. It's like when you're trying to learn something and you have to write it down.
Yep.
It's the same thing. It reinforces behavior. And so introducing those systems to new team members right from the very beginning makes a huge, huge difference.
I think so too. And that's obviously like, you know, a lot of my coaching clients have been in business for a long time. They've had staff for a long time too. So it's about trying to convert those, you know, old habits. And I call it bad habits because that's all it is. It's just creating a new habit. It's really, really hard. It's much easier with new staff or a new salon, I believe.
Exactly. Yeah.
From the start.
Yeah, absolutely.
These days, perfect service, coffee, and a welcoming environment is already expected by the clients. What's something extra we can do to wow them? So I feel like obviously you've created, you know, your signature drinks. Is there anything else, any other pointers there?
It may not be something that's new to you guys, but I have landing pages that I text out to all my new clients before their first visit. So information pages that tell them exactly where to park, what to expect, what refreshments you serve, you know, do you have toilet facilities? You know, all the little
ask questions sort of thing.
Yeah, it's like a little Q&A sheet almost, but you're dealing with the questions before they actually visit. And I know the salons that I have coached that have implemented this, they absolutely love it. So you can put anything in them as well. You can pop your cancellation policy in there so that it's set out from the beginning. Like there's so many different things to pop in there, but I find that it's really nice because my clients know that I serve, you know, an espresso martini now, for example. So they'll go, oh yeah, I saw that in that text that you sent me. Yeah, I'd love one. Yeah, so that's just one little thing.
So you do a text message with a link to a landing page?
Absolutely, yeah. So welcome to the VIP Collective Hair Boutique. Here's some useful information for your up and coming first visit sort of thing, that kind of thing, and then a little link. Yeah.
I'm living for that. That is such a good idea.
I'll make you one.
What do you think about like a new client welcome packs, like actually physically giving them something when they get there?
Yeah, to be honest with you, this is something that I have never done, you know, but I do love the idea, and I know salons that do it, and it go on, you're laughing at something.
No, I think it's cool because I actually think that your landing page is almost like a digital welcome pack.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
beforehand.
I
I
do.
I was like, hang on, it's actually kind of the same thing. Just
Oh, okay. I think the main thing I am trying to create, and again, this goes back to client experience, we need to make it really easy for people. And if, like, don't get me wrong, welcome packs are wonderful, especially if there's maybe a few little goodies or something like that for them to be able to take away. People love all that stuff. But when it comes to client experience, it needs to be easy for people. So they need to be able to find the information that's required at the touch of a button. Yeah. And that's why I quite like to send things out digitally, but knowing who's getting what at the right time. So, yeah.
I think it's actually an incredible idea. I'm going to implement that into myself.
Yay!
I like it. No, it's actually awesome. I think it's just like, we're obviously in a main area. We've got heaps of parking and stuff like that. But yeah, even just to let them know things like that, actually something I want to put in mind too, because it's something that happens in our salon. We can't have extras. Like, we don't have the room to facilitate extra people, kids, partners. Like, our chairs are kind of nicely spaced apart that we put in with a trolley, and we're not kind of banging into each other. But people still don't seem to get it.
Yeah. Do you know, I have never had a waiting area in any of my salons.
Yeah.
Ever.
I've got a couple of people who don't either.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's important because, first of all, it keeps the team on the ball and ready to welcome clients straight through. If you're not lucky enough to have a salon coordinator, for example, you have to have your systems ready in place. And preparation is always key, making sure that you know who to expect for the day. And, you know, like my current computer system, it's on an iPad, and I have to flip and log in to the iPad before I can get into my system, and then I have to put my PIN code in the system. It takes too long. So I print out my day sheet, I have it ready on the desk, and I cross people off as they come in. So a really quick glance, I can say, oh, hey, Mrs. Jones, how are you going? You know, if it's a new client and you don't know, you know, who they are, because I think it's really important.
Rather than standing there and being like, hang on a minute, let me just
log in, and is it Mrs. Jones? Yeah, you know, it's not a very great first impression. So
and so what's your thoughts, this wasn't in there, but what's your thoughts on receptionists, coordinators, those sorts of people?
Oh my God,
obviously that was basically your role in your business too, wasn't it, by the end of it?
Well, yes, I did have a salon coordinator as well. So I was
every time. We've got two, and they're like,
I have to say, if you can get your business to the stage where you can have a salon coordinator, even if it's only part-time, they're just the best things in the world, because it means that you can use your time more constructively to do the things that you need to get done behind the scenes, as long as they are well trained, and they might not be hair professionals, so they possibly might need a lot more training than for example an ex-hairdresser or something like that. I never let anybody answer the phone in the salon until they know what all the services are and they know the prices, for example, because it just looks terrible when somebody calls up to ask about how much is a full head of foils. Oh, let me just have a look. You know, you can't create a two-way conversation that way, because straight away the conversation is all about price.
Yeah.
I
agree with you. I think I know for me, like, obviously Charlie was actually my first staff member, and she came on board straight away as I had a couple of apprentices and stuff come and go, but she was my first proper real staff member. And it was, for me, like, she made her wage straight away, and like my clients were charged properly, because believe it or not, I'm actually quite a weak person when it comes to charging people. So if you take that away, everyone was charged properly. So instantly I've made another $1,000 a week. And then I've got, everyone's buying products, everyone's rebooking, everything was organized. Like as soon as she started, I was always booked out in advance, because I'd always do appointment in advance. As soon as she started, I booked out 12 months in advance, because she's like, here's your year of appointments. And they're like, what? And she's like, that's what you've got. Like,
beautiful.
Make it work. So if you train them the right way, like, for me, they pay for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
And my staff are not tech savvy. Like, my staff are not computer girls. Like, they're just
Yeah, I'm not. I'm learning so much as I go along. So it's really good to find someone with strengths that you don't have.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. My business never suffered financially by having a salon coordinator. In fact, once I stepped off the floor and brought in a salon coordinator, I made more money in that last year of business.
Exactly the same, because you've got time to step back and manage everything else that's going on in there as well.
Yeah.
Well, there's heaps in here. I'm like, what am I going to ask next? Well, there's a couple that kind of go together. What's the one thing that will always make a client rebook? Tricks to getting those, or tips to getting those, I shouldn't say tricks, tips to getting those really stubborn clients to rebook. Yeah, let's talk rebooking.
Yeah. Creating scarcity.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a massive part of it. If your clients know, I'm having a bit of trouble with rebooking right now because all my clients know the salon is brand new and they know that I've got spaces and that sort of thing. Whereas I'm just saying, look, you know, if you want me to do your hair next time, you need to get your next booking in because I don't know if I'm going to be available by then. So I don't know if there's any hard and fast tricks to guarantee a rebooking, but it is about the language that you use, isn't it?
I agree.
Yeah. Quite often I hear team members say, do you want to rebook?
Oh, no,
I hate that.
Oh yeah, bad.
Oh, I absolutely hate it. Do you want they're
those products? Do you want to rebook?
Absolutely.
I'll open up Charlie here because I think, Charlie, you changed the hello.
Hello.
Oh,
Hello.
finally getting to sit there and listen in, but didn't really happen. Charlie obviously was the person that literally, like I said, got me from being, you know, that sort of 2 appointments in advance to literally like 6 or 7 appointments in advance. What was your process there?
So for me, I just think like it's super important, and the more organized, like for me, I'm a very organized person. So I just think, I just like, my concept is, you know, I don't show up for appointments unless I've booked it in advance. So I think every other person is going to be the exact same way. And so why not do for the whole year? Because that keeps it consistent for the stylist and that keeps it consistent for the client as well. So, and they knew that they were seeing the same person. They weren't calling up trying to get in. Oh, sorry, you're going to have to see someone else. They knew who they were seeing. You know, they knew they were going to be happy. They were going to get the days and the times that they wanted. But it also got to the point, especially for Caitlyn, that I didn't have a choice. Yeah. I could not even book 6 weeks in advance because the appointment wasn't there. So it was, here's your 12 months. You tell me if they work. If there's anything that comes up, you just call me and I'll make it work. Like, and
you were more flexible to people who already had a booking.
That's right. And I would always, and I'd always say to them, I can easily move an appointment around rather than try and get you in.
Yeah, perfect.
That was the biggest thing for me.
I think a really funny thing, I'm going to mute you now, Charlie, so I don't get to hear you like it's echoing. Another really funny thing that Charlie's doing, it's really, really mean, but if clients would actually ring up and try and book in, and even if I had a spot, she wouldn't book them in because she was like, no, they need to learn to rebook. They'll be difficult when they were in here. They're not rebooking. And she also used to only book me in clusters so that she'd be like, no, if there's no bookings that one, you're not coming to work today. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I absolutely love that. Love it.
Yeah. She's like, no, they're not getting in with you. Like, you put them in there. She's like, no. No. I'm like, okay. How do you encourage your staff to go the extra mile for your clients?
Yeah. Gosh, this goes back to almost the same things that we've spoken about, and that is setting the expectations right from the beginning and letting them know when something's done really well. There's no better feeling than a really happy client. But if your staff or your team don't know that you're getting this feedback, then it's not going to be very rewarding. But it's really important to, sorry, something's echoing. It might be my thingies.
I'm quiet here.
I'm hearing myself. I think, just rewarding them by by letting them know, giving them positive feedback when they have done something really well, but getting yourself in that situation as well. So, you know, they usually follow by example. So showing people exactly how you want things done and making sure that you, the leader, you stick to those systems and processes 100%. So one example of a way that I would get my team to follow things the way that I wanted it done was I would actually get them to help me create the system. So for example, our process or our system at the shampoo area, or the wash lounge as I call it, it has to be an absolute systemized process from start to finish. And clients come to expect this, and it's important not to break your promises. So by getting your team to actually create the system with you, it will make them so much more accountable, and it will actually make them really want to make that system work. So yeah.
I think it's a really funny one. Like, I know when I did my apprenticeship, I did my apprenticeship when I was 15 to when I was 17. I worked for two guys who were well into their 50s, right? Very, very old school. We worked 60 hours a week, paid for 38. Everybody stayed at the end of the day until he left the building. But the thing that always stood out to me is he always used to say, do as I say, not as I do. He always used to say it. And for me, I'm like, fuck you, mate. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to go above and beyond for you when you don't go above and beyond for me, or you don't go above and beyond for your own clients. And the worst thing was he had the most loyal following. He was booked for months in advance. He wasn't even, month-long waiting list. But for me, it made me resent him. Like, it made me like, ugh. Whereas for my staff, like when I was on the floor, and they know now, even though I'm not there, I think they know how hard I worked to get it there, and it would have been the same as you. They watched you go through that. For me, like when I was on the floor, it was actually really awesome because we always almost have like a bit of a competition with each other, and they knew that I worked fucking hard. I was there in the morning, I was there when I left, like when they left, So I 100% agree that it's about leading by example.
Yeah.
And I love to get your staff to build with you too. We do the same thing. You don't think that's working? Okay, what can we do to make it better?
That's it. Absolutely. Yeah. Love that one.
This. A lot of these clients are kind of like, a lot of these questions, sorry, are like kind of like you're answering other questions while we're answering these.
And making it quite difficult for you. Okay,
so for some like budget conscious clients, salon owners, what are some cheap and easy things to implement in the salon that will make us stand out? Is there anything that you like, obviously maybe cocktails isn't in the budget, or, is there anything you would recommend just to like level up a little bit that doesn't cost an arm and a leg, that maybe might, attract a few more clients that could help them then to implement some new strategies?
Yeah, absolutely. First things first is I would say pick 3 areas within the salon that you want to improve. So one could be the welcome procedure, another could be the refreshments, just to keep it nice and easy. And then the third thing could be perhaps something at the wash lounge. What can you do that's better at the wash lounge? And some really simple things. Number one could be the welcome procedure. Well, let's take that text message. How easy is that? It costs what, 12 cents for a text message to send out?
Yeah.
Super simple. It takes away the fear that people might be feeling about going to a new salon. 2 of the things that I get complimented on so much in my salon are my coffee cups and my sugar pots. It's just, they're tiny little things, but all those little things add up. It's important to not put
on tea boards. So we have ours on like wooden boards, and people just, it's the most amazing thing. I'm like, guys, these tea boards are from Kmart. Like,
exactly.
I reckon they're 5 years old. They've never changed.
Yeah, that's it.
That's really funny that. It's really funny the trivial things that clients come up with, but that's why it's important to try and gain that feedback as well. Hey,
exactly. And to make sure that it becomes very consistent. So I do train everybody how to set the tray up. The handle has to be facing the right way on the coffee cup. The teaspoon has to be facing the right way. The chocolate has to be placed on the tray in exactly the same place. So it's every single visit, every single time that the clients will come. So if you miss the chocolate off one time, they will notice.
100%.
Yeah. My clients in my last salon used to say, if you ever stop serving these chocolates, I'm out of here. I'm going to look for another salon. Like, it's a 50-cent chocolate, but they are the small things. I'm sure they probably wouldn't leave, but they actually would say things like that because they come to expect it, and they really, really enjoy all of those little touches.
Yeah.
Yes.
We had tea too one day. God forbid we use the supermarket like loose leaf tea. It was like a whole other thing. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, guys, it was one day. We didn't have time to go drive the half an hour into the city to get it. Like,
yeah, exactly. But it's amazing, isn't it? Because they do come to expect those things. Something else I've introduced in the last few weeks and people are loving is actual menus that we produce.
We're getting them done at the moment. We actually email today to say ours are done. We're getting like hard plastic ones as well.
Yes. They absolutely love it when you present that menu to them, but also you can put information in those menus as well to keep them up to date with what's going on in the salon. We have so many things to remember as stylists throughout the client's journey with us. And if we can make it easier to remember all of these things or to get that information across to the client, then we should really grab those opportunities. And menus are a great way.
Feeling for them to actually like hold something physical. It's not like when you're at a restaurant and they tell you all the specials and you kind of sit there and you're like, I didn't listen to one thing.
Yeah.
Overwhelmed with information. So for me too, like I've always forgot to tell them everything that we've got. So we'd be like, you've got red wine, white wine, whatever. But you'd forget to say that you've got this new rosé. You forget to say that you've got this special flavor of tea, or like there was something. So it was really like I just think it's so much more neat and like you being on a menu.
Yeah, beautiful.
Nice to upgrade the paper ones to plastic ones.
Awesome.
I love that. That's an awesome tip.
And lastly, the wash lounge. You've probably seen all my photos. We all have our own way of setting up our wash lounge. But yeah, I always have my towels rolled in a certain way. And it's a system. As soon as you finish at the lounge, you show your guests back to their seats and you excuse yourself just for like a minute, go back and reset the wash lounge if no one's available to do it for you. So it becomes a system, and the clients love it, along with the turbans on their head so they're not dripping water everywhere. Like, it's amazing, some of the basic things that we think are basic because we've been in the game a long time, but some people actually don't know about. And when you introduce these little things, I only introduced turbans into my salon like 2 years ago. And I remember bringing it in. We had so much fun with it. We'd have ponytails sticking out the back and flipping turban fails and all sorts, but the clients really enjoyed being part of that journey.
Everyone looks like a drowned rat when they're sitting there with wet hair as well. So it's like, get it out of my fucking face. I don't want to look at myself right now, especially like we have a colour bar, obviously, where we don't have mirrors at the colour station. And so then like all they've done is they're sitting there with a cape up to here. So their chin looks 4 times as wide. They've got wet hair and they're like, oh my God, I feel disgusting. Like sitting in front of the big wall, like floor to ceiling bloody mirror. So I think that's a really cool idea. We do the same thing. We kind of wrap them up a certain way. So I love that. How do you recognize that your client experience needs improving?
Possibly. Sorry, client retention. I think, I absolutely think the numbers and client retention will tell you everything that's going on in your business. So if you are tracking your client retention and tracking your numbers, there's usually a story to tell. Like, I can tell by looking at my numbers when I had a really busy week, because my rebooking was terrible that week because I was too busy to do what I was supposed to do. So usually that is the case. I think the other thing is does your client experience match with your client's expectations? That's a really important one. So
how do you measure that?
I'm not sure how I would actually measure that other than asking clients. I think it's really important.
Get that feedback.
Create a feedback form, put it into a system, and try and use those forms consistently to try and work out if you're actually meeting their expectations. I remember when I opened my first salon here in Australia, it was a tiny little salon in a rundown back street, and it was in a real crappy suburb, and I really, really struggled to retain clients. And I knew that my service was amazing, and and I know lots of.
It's not just about the waxing; it's actually about the whole process.
Absolutely. And I remember chatting to a client once, and I was selling a premium facial. So I had a piece of machinery that cost me like 25 grand, and I was charging $255 for this facial, and my website was really premium and everything was high market. And then when I was getting feedback from the client, they said they were really disappointed when they turned up to the salon. And that, I guess, is where my brain started ticking about making sure that expectations really match your marketing as well, because you're creating expectations in your conversations and your marketing all the time. And that is part of client experience, bringing in the right clients for your business. And my client retention back then was quite low. Even though I knew we were doing wonderfully. But as soon as I switched locations, same services, same prices, same everything, better location, my business exploded. So I'm not saying change your location at all. I'm just saying that make sure everything matches across the board. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. This is a pretty debatable topic at the moment, I reckon. It's something that I have a very strong opinion about. Do you think by taking away the personal touch, so using digital integration like bots, things like that, affects the client experience in a negative way?
Oh, I've been thinking.
I'm strongly one way on this.
Yeah, oh God, I don't want to offend you.
No, I love a bit of it. No, I love a bit of back and forthing on this. So what's your opinion on this?
I'll tell you where I'm sitting right now. And I find this really hard because I am quite loyal to someone in particular that helps salon owners implement these into their business. I have a bot on my salon page and I'm considering turning it off.
Yeah.
That is just, and I'm being 100% honest because this is a safe place, right?
Absolutely.
It confuses conversation.
It doesn't work for others. Some people might be I think some people might be like a one-woman bandwagon or something where they actually need to get something to get them to that point. Me, I fucking hate them, I think.
Yeah.
I absolutely think it takes away the personal touch.
Yeah. I had
contacting someone and they've got one. I'm like, fuck's sake. It reminds me of calling the ATO.
Exactly.
You push 85 buttons and you still don't get to speak to the person you want to speak to. And you're like, oh, God's sake, I'm just going to hang up and call back tomorrow.
Yeah.
Deal.
There you go.
I feel the same way about them if they're not set up properly, but I haven't seen a really outstanding one yet.
Yeah. I think mine is set up beautifully. I can't fault with the setup at all. Good. But there's not a way of... The bot can't recognize when someone sends you an actual personal question, not personal question, a specific question. And it sends back that generic response. And I just think if we're in the business of creating relationships, nurturing relationships and building on those relationships long term, I don't think a bot is going to help us do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I obviously follow a lot of salons and stuff like that. I just get this spammy sales posts a lot, and I'm just like, ugh. I actually think it's much more personal when it comes into your mobile phone. Funnily enough, it is kind of the same thing, but actually, I'm like, oh yeah, cool, it's fine,
Yeah.
But I feel like it's a really hot topic at the moment, bots and stuff like that, and I feel like it works really well for some people, but it's not something.
Yeah, I've seen salon owners have absolutely unreal results from them. Yeah. I can't put my finger on what it is that does that, but I guess maybe it's their business model.
Yep.
So, yeah.
I agree with you as well. Our loyalty programs are still an important part of the client experience. Is there anything you do regarding client loyalty or?
Yeah. I don't have a loyalty program. And don't get me wrong, I think absolutely there is a place for loyalty programs. I surprise and delight my clients. So not randomly, I send out gifts every now and then to clients so that it doesn't become an expectation. I've had them before, and I find that, especially, for example, my old computer system used to be Katoomba, and it had points on there, and at first, you know, it would be, oh, you've got $15 in points, do you want to spend them? Oh yeah, I'd spend them. No value added. So then I scrapped that and decided to start sending them out in the post so that they actually received something physical in their hand. Again, it's another discount. They really didn't value it. So I think it's about finding what works for you and your business. And I mean, the last time I sent something out, I did send 30 of my gorgeous gift cards out to my clients in the post, and I got wonderful comments. I should check my post more often, and you know, little things.
Snail mail anymore?
Yeah, so I think specific loyalty programs for me have created expectations, and people don't value them. I am someone that I'd rather just do a random act, I guess, of kindness, and
like
just
Valentine's Day, isn't it?
Yeah.
Commercial bullshit. Oh, Valentine's Day. Why do I need an excuse to buy people things?
Yeah.
So when you say you used to send them something, was there a way that you used to monitor when you did that? Was it just like your whole database at one time, or was it when somebody friend, or like what was the, you know, when was the time that you went, right, they deserve a gift? They deserve
Yeah. So when I first started this, I would send 10 out a month to like my top 10 spenders. But then I would find that my top 10 were always the same people over and over. So you could set a benchmark, for example, when somebody's visited your salon 6 times or whatever, that's when they'll get a gift. So I'm pretty sure most systems you can run a report on client visits and how many that they've done. And each month you could send something out at that benchmark, so like an anniversary, or you could send something out completely differently and just do something for their birthday or whatever instead. But yeah, for me it was after either a certain amount of visits or a amount of client spend in the salon, and it seems more spontaneous that way. Don't tell them you've been 6 times
at once. Yeah. Customer.
Yeah, it has to just be completely random, I think, for it to be received how you're wanting to.
I think for me, and what I've learned too, is like the whole, and it's again something that is completely changed obviously since I first went into business to what it is now. It's that, you know, we send random gifts to our clients as well, like in the coaching business. And because it's like, people will always forget what you said or did for them, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. So like, even with any client experience, like when you walk in a restaurant, like I went to this beautiful restaurant called Iggy. It's in the top 5 restaurants in Australia. It's actually in Geelong, funnily enough. And we went there, and like they're serving us and they're coming over and they're talking to us and we're conversing, and like they actually make the food for you, so it's not a menu and stuff like that. But it was just like that. I left, even though the food was a bit shit actually, I left, I felt really good. Like I just felt good, and I'll probably go back because they were so amazing, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's just about creating that feeling. So giving someone a physical something, I think is really important. On that actually, and it's not written in here, what do you have a referral program, or how do you reward people with that? Because I feel like that's a part of the client experience or customer service, you know, process.
Yeah. I do have a reward program, and I do send out a gift card actually to my. I know. I've actually been sat here working on so many things today. So like I've got my whiteboard in front of me with all my things. I send out these cards to my clients who've referred someone, and it just says, thank you so much for referring your friend to the VIP Collective as a token of our appreciation. And I give them a $25 gift card.
Nice.
I know technically it's a discount, but what happens is I do put 8 weeks expiry on this. And last week I had 2 of these brought back by brand new clients, because I've written it on the back that if you can't use it within the expiry date, give it to a friend and we'll replace it. So like, it was kind of cool. Last week I got 2 new clients with these vouchers, and then I posted the ladies who had given it a new one with a new 8-week expiry on it. So it's working well.
And what's $25 really?
Exactly. You know, it's a treatment or whatever. You'll usually find, or I find, that my clients just spend more when they've got these cards anyway.
Yeah,
so,
I love that.
yeah.
I already think I know the answer to this one, and I'm going to add to it as well. Are hairdressers and beauty therapists allowed an off day? Example, like a casual Friday, makeup free, hair tied back. And for me, how do you discipline that into them if that goes against your procedure?
Oh my gosh.
For me, that's like a hard no. Like if you like shit, I send you home. I don't care if you live 40 minutes away. You are going home, getting changed, and coming back again.
Yeah. I have sent staff home before for the exact same reasons. I think because we are hairdressers and beauty therapists, I think people sometimes, or team members, don't treat us with the same respect as a larger corporation. So, for example, the airline that I used to work with, there is no fucking way I would ever turn up to work missing a part of my uniform or missing my red lipstick, because I knew without a doubt I'd get sent home.
Yeah.
And
then you miss your shift. So then you just,
Exactly. You know, you get reprimanded for it. So I think the thing is, it's no good as a salon owner saying, oh, where's your makeup today? Oh, I didn't have time to put it on. Well, you've got two choices, mate. You go home, you put that makeup on, or you can put some of that tester stuff on that I've got on that stand over there, but you are not going out onto my floor without your makeup on. Simple as.
I just, and especially first, like we charge top dollar.
Exactly.
It's there's an expectation that comes along with that, and I think too, I hated when I used to go get my makeup done and the girls have shit makeup. I'm like, oh my god, are you about to do my face? Like, and you can't even do your own face. So
yeah,
that's good that you send people home too, because that's absolutely my process in that as well. And I've had it happen quite a few times. We had this apprentice named Bella. She's such a good apprentice. She used to wear this fucking ugly raggy jumper to work, and she used to do it all the time, and we'd keep telling her not to, and then she'd keep doing it, and I'm like, oh my god. And it was sent us home 3 times in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Go and change your fucking ugly jumper, or go to the shop and buy something else. It was bally and raggy, and I was like, that might be cool, outside of work, but it's not kind of the policy in here. And I think it really does make them respect the rules a little bit more.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You only got a couple more to go, really. Do the tiny details really make a difference? For example, if your client says they are tight on time, does it matter if you don't give a super long head massage?
It doesn't have to be a super long head massage, but it has to absolutely be the head massage that you always do. I am so passionate about not cutting corners with the things that, I guess there's areas where you promise to clients. I use it in my marketing all the time. You will always get a set head massage when you come to my salon. I think like the head massage and the blow-away finish, they're things that people remember about you. And the minute you cut it, that's it. And I will actually put my hand up and say, a few months ago, I had a client who'd been to my salon a couple of times, got a new team member in my salon. I hadn't been through the head massage yet. And do you know what? Because I don't miss a thing, I saw it on that client's face. She was pissed off.
Yeah.
So the first thing I did, pick up the phone. I spoke to her. I said to her, I am so sorry. I noticed this, but I wasn't in a position to be able to deal with it. I want to get you back in the salon. And you
can't go up to them when they're at the basin.
Yeah, I mean, I would have loved to have done, but I was not in a position to be able to deal with it at the time. I think I was in the middle of something that I couldn't just put tools down and going, because I don't miss a thing. I can see from somebody's eyes the second they're not happy. And a lot of people need training in that, body language, and to be able to recognize when somebody's getting fidgety or looking around or touching their hair or whatever. And I think for us as managers, we need to be able to recognize that.
Yeah. And I think for managers and owners as well, like if you're a manager,
for sure,
as well.
Yeah. Now, ideally, I never would have let that client leave the salon. So please don't let clients leave your salon if you notice that there's something that's not up to standard happening, but you know, I dealt with it as soon as I possibly could, and the situation's been completely reversed now, and she's happy as Larry. But the minute you start cutting corners on your service, you will lose clients. If somebody's tight on time, I think there's other ways you can probably help, like
I mean, I try to cut the shampoo down, or I try and like put them under the climbers on, or speed up.
Exactly.
Somebody to help you blow dry. Like, I'm the same as you. I think those finer details are the thing that sets us apart. And I'm pissed when things like that get missed.
Oh,
because I'm just like, it's actually, you don't forget how to do foils. You don't forget how to do fucking haircuts. You don't forget how to follow this this procedure through.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's so important.
And that can be the difference between a client coming back and a client leaving.
Yeah. Oh, I experienced it almost.
Yeah. And so here's the question that kind of leads on from that. What are some tips on body language and customer service? So communicating with clients, is there some no-goes and some definites? Obviously, you said before, I mean, sitting at eye height is obviously a really incredible thing in any dealings with clients, obviously, when you're not physically working with them. Any no-nos or absolute yeses?
I think the main thing is to be to try and be more observant when you're in your salon. Like, it's really easy to see somebody's eyes looking around the salon, for example. They're looking for something. So try and be aware of what's going on in the business. What's your client looking for? Do you think they might need the bathroom? When did they last have a refreshment? You know, it's just those little things that you should be able to learn to spot, and perhaps start training your team to be able to spot. I did have a situation in salon a couple of weeks ago where I could see body language from 4 or 5 stations away. A client was leaning forward in her chair, you know, looking at her hair. The stylist was obliviously blow drying her hair, you know, making it all beautiful, but she was not being aware of the body language that this client was putting out. So you know, look for these little signs and try and recognize them as to whether the client needs something or whether possibly the client's not feeling comfortable with something. But yeah, absolute yeses. I think the main thing really is, you know, that eye level thing with clients. It's so important at the crucial times of a service consultation. Exactly.
Obviously, you can't be working on them physically, but yes, when you're trying to communicate something with them, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I think this is pretty much the last one. What is the absolute number one priority, do you believe, in a client's experience?
Consistency. Yeah. Sorry if it's boring, ladies, but you know, you need to map out your client's experience, and then you need to stick to it. So training your team through the process. And we used to walk around the salon and work out what the touch points were for a client. We used to talk about how the client would be feeling at each of those touch points. Were they feeling nervous, anxious, excited, worried, uncomfortable? How were they feeling? Take all those considerations into account and design your client journey around those feelings. And once you've developed it, you need to keep it consistent. Consistency is key.
I think that's absolutely probably the number one thing in our business too, was that we have everybody follow the same process, so that, you know, should someone be sick or someone moves around an appointment and they see somebody else, you're getting that same consistency the whole way through. And like you said, you know, if your coordinator wasn't there, all your stylists knew how to step in and take over that procedure.
Yeah.
So I think that's exactly, that's absolutely, love it. Perfect.
I think just another sort of point with that is that I never had, and you probably don't either, Caitlyn, if a stylist leaves the salon, I never had to worry about losing half my clients along with that stylist, because the clients learn to love the salon. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure they love their stylist, because we all hire based on personality, right? We like to have people in the salon that our clients can get along with. But yeah, absolutely. If you don't want to lose clients when you lose stylists, you need to make the clients fall in love with the business, not with the stylists.
And I find the thing that happens with that too is we often have clients leave, but they'll come back.
Yeah.
Maybe it takes 2 or 3 appointments. We also have people sometimes leave for, whatever trivial reason. They just wanted to change. There was something, and then they go somewhere else and they come back and like, oh my God, they just did this, and this.
Yeah,
and they didn't do this, or they had shit coffee, or, the chairs were uncomfortable, or things like it can be a really, really random thing. Skip the head massage, huge one.
Oh.
So, we find that too, that if we do have staff move on, often the clients will go, then they will come back.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
I love that. That concludes everything. And kind of, like I said, a lot of questions that you answered kind of covered other ones or led into other ones. But I really appreciate you being here today. I just really wanted to kind of have someone else's perspective onto this. I know obviously this is your absolute area of expertise. And another thing with all those processes was that was the reason you were able to sell your salon for so much as well, was because basically an investor could step into your business and it ran. There was changes that needed to be made, and that's essentially what you're trying to do by coaching and by building a salon, is to have this absolute sellable salon. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I was so excited to be able to join such an awesome, amazing coach, and just have a good chat about something that I'm really passionate about. So.
I know, I like it. No, and I think it's always really good to have a fresh set of eyes anyway, and some different things. But also thank you to you guys coming up. There's some really incredible questions in there, really, really creative ones as well. So thank you so much, guys. I'm going to end this call. I hope you have an awesome evening, everybody, and I'll chat to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.